Thank you for choosing to drop into this, this workshop this afternoon. I'm Darren Hill, Category Manager for the Vironex product within our holding group, which is Quinn Global, which I'll overview shortly again in a second. So today we're going to be giving a bit of background, bit of product overview, bit of experience in the market with this product here, Vironex, which is all about rapid, portable and effective surface disinfection that's always ready to deliver. Okay, so just to give an idea of what we're going to run through today so that we know where we're going. So we'll give a brief bit of background and then we'll cover, what is Vironex, what's inside here, what's the good stuff inside. So, and then how does it work, overview the system a little bit more for you. And then from our experience, what are some of the most effective areas of use for this product within the clinical environments based on our experience of the work we've done with some trust. And then just to overview the validations, the approvals. So Vironex does have a good, you might have noticed on the leaflet, does have a good host of, I'm not sure if they're on there or not, I think they are, of BSEN standards that we've tested too. So we'll just run through those. And then just really to cover off some of the key benefits really in summary of the system, and then just to share some NHS and also ambulance trust work that we've been involved with. And then I would like to just throw open for a little bit of Q&A, any questions, any queries, and obviously if you want to hang on and discuss anything specific to your remit at the end, that will be fantastic. We'll try and I think we'll hopefully manage to keep this well within our 40 minutes. So we'll crack straight in. Okay, so Vironex as a product was born from some approaches that we had as a company, which were highlighting to us the kind of some of the gaps that really exist with surface disinfection in the market, where you've got what I suppose I would call very traditional methods of dissolving chlorine tablets, etc. Yeah, and you've got the associated time involved, the handling hazards, the associated waste potentially. You've got the pot life, if you like, of what you've mixed, etc. So that's the, should we say that we'll call that the traditional sort of methodology of manual cleaning. And then what was really highlighted that there's a big gap in the middle before you get up to some of these, should we say, in very investment heavy, quite expensive other methods of decontamination and disinfection, which can be costly and very technical in their nature. So this is where Vironex comes in, because Vironex sits really in the middle. Okay, so we'll cover off more details about the system itself on some of the next slides. But just to give a little bit of further background to the product, so the group company is Quinn Global, based in Perth in Scotland. Okay, and as a group we have a number of business channels, but all our technology is focused around spray delivered systems. That's our speciality. So that's how we've come up with this this system, is because that's our speciality, is spray delivered systems. So what is Vironex? It's a high-level biocidal disinfectant cleaner product. Okay, so it is I'm trying to think. I think the blend off the top of my head now, I believe is 2 to 3 blended active ingredients included in this biocidal cleaner, delivered from a unique 100% portable system, and that's really the big benefit and the big unique point about this product is the delivery mechanism, because this product is always ready to go as a pre-pressurized vessel. The product delivers Vironex delivers a continuous, very fine mist spray to the surface, and that's how the product is dispensed, and essentially enabling effective, high-volume surface disinfection, and with great user ease. That's really the feedback that we've had. Okay, so how does Vironex work? I'll put this down and hopefully you can all see, put it up on a table here so it's a bit more visible for you. But what we've got here is a refillable vessel here, okay? So we're eliminating single-use packaging of product here as well, because we've got a refillable vessel, okay? They're pressurized, it's pressurized with a completely non-flammable gas, which has zero degradatory effect on the contents, and that's obviously what forms a headspace in the canister and allows the product to be propelled as the trigger is pulled, okay? So the formulation is a very, very finely balanced one to deliver a 20 micron droplet size, okay? And at this point, I might as well just unreel this a couple. And I'm a decent distance away from you guys. So you'll see now, as I pull the trigger, you may be able to see, I'm not sure if you can see that in the light of the screen or not, but I'm just delivering a very fine mist. But what you will see also is that it is dropping, okay? So this is not like fogging, where we're putting particles which would be much smaller than 20 microns, where there's a big grey area in terms of how small are they, how long do they lag in the air, how long is the safe re-entry point into rooms that have had that technology. So with this, we've got 20 micron is the point where they will actively drop out of suspension. So you can be sure that within a short period of time, it is settled on a surface, and you have got a safe airspace essentially to re-enter. So the 20 micron droplet size is actually a really key point on the product. The next thing to point out is this simple application. So we've got, it's essentially a three-piece system. You've got the canister itself, which if I spin it around, you can see in through the handle gap there. You've got a valve, red valve tap on top here, connecting into a hose and gun, okay? And this is simply a case of wind back fully and a four-finger trigger action. So from a fatigue perspective, it's user ease is absolutely paramount and certainly effective with this product. So in terms of, I covered off the fact that this canister is refillable. So the model that we've got set up for this would be something not dissimilar to, for example, the oxygen bottles, etc., where we would put in, say, a small crate of these into a facility, and they would be rotated, so empties collected, refilled, and that way, obviously, we get a great circular system going with the product and the packaging, etc. A couple of other points I want to cover off on the system itself. So this cylinder here holds, based on the coat weight that we would recommend, which is a fine mist coating, which can be, there's further detail we would go into, site-specific in terms of training and application. But based on our recommendations, there's approximately 1,000 square meters of coverage in this canister. Okay, so a lot of what typically you're doing in your types of spaces isn't really square meters. Often it would be more linear meters, actually. So by the time you multiply out that, there is very, very significant high levels of coverage from one tank. So to cover off how it, we've got points 4 and 5 here. So later on in a few slides, we'll cover off some work we've been doing with the, I always pronounce this wrong, it's the Betsy Coward University Hospital Trust up in North Wales. So a great bunch of people up there that we've done some work with. And what they fed back to us is that they'd kind of identified 2 methods of using this product. So the first is in point 4 really here. Sorry, it's the other way around, it's 4 and 5. So the first one is where you might have a physically soiled, dirty surface. Yeah? And this product can be used, should we say, at stage 1 for physical application in conjunction with a physical wipe, be it a wipe, a rag, cloth, whatever. And then what they said is, in those scenarios, they would then give it a second pass-over, which would be like the final decontamination, knowing that then they can leave that surface cleaned and disinfected. But what they also highlighted is there were certain areas where you might say there's quite a high level of footfall, quite high traffic, and you've got the regular touch points, the grab rails, the push plates on the doors, etc., etc. And in those areas, this product can be effectively used in a spray and leave format. Okay, so what it enables the services teams to do is to go around doing regular application very, very quickly in a spray and leave format, knowing that you've got a high-level virucidal, bactericidal, yeasticidal application of product on there. Okay, so that's really the two methods, and it really depends on, should we say, the how high the exposure is to the specific surface that you're cleaning, ultimately, and the risk levels, etc. Okay, so some of the most effective areas of use in clinical settings for Vironex. Again, this was fed back from the guys at the Bangor site, to be fair. This is what they said was the top areas, and I've pretty much covered off number one, what I said just now. So typically your corridors, your grab rails, touch points, staff communal areas, office environments, beds also for quick turnaround environments. This is another key thing about Vironex, is that it's always ready. Coming back to this point about the traditional methods, you know, the time involved potentially in the mixing and the preparation, etc. With this product, now I've demonstrated it, I'll just drop it down. You know, when I was up there, I saw a guy, you know, he was just going down a corridor. You know, you can push it in ahead of you, and he's literally just spraying as he's going. You know, the user ease point on this product is definitely a very, very, very key benefit. So, yeah, quick turnaround on beds, furniture, toilet blocks. Another great application for regular cleaning, with, again, great user ease being the really, really key point there. Just to touch on the beds side of things. Okay, when we were up at Bangor, we were doing a bit of testing on the product to ensure that if we've got a bar, so we've got some sort of metal bar, we want to make sure that when we're spraying, that we're catching all sides of surfaces, etc. What we managed to demonstrate was that because of the way that this dispenses under pressure, if you've got, and I think we demonstrated it also on a door handle was a good example, where they said, okay, so how do I know that that's actually going to get where the hand goes, behind the handle, for example? Okay, and the nature of this spray pattern, it's difficult to see it here, but you're welcome to come down afterwards and have a little play with it, all right? But what we demonstrated was that even by just going at a couple of angles like that, the nature of the way that these particles move around is that it creates its own vortex, is the wrong word, but it moves around the particles and land. We managed to demonstrate by wiping our hand down the back of the handle that it had physical coverage on the back as well. Okay, so it's not electrostatic. Okay, it doesn't actually collect in from a charge perspective, but the way that it's dispensed under pressure means that you've got great wraparound coverage on it. Okay. So validation and approvals. I mentioned this at the start. Obviously, this is very key for the product to be completely credible for your environments. We've got quite a strong lineup there of BSCN standards that we've gone to. So 1276 bacteria. We've got the stage 1 and 2 on virucidal, 14476 and 16777. You've got the yeasticidal ones there as well. 13697, worth mentioning on this one, it was done under the highest level of organic load, medical organic load. So that was, I think, one of the toughest ones, and that achieved a log 5, I think, on that particular one. But some of the others have been over that, which is fantastic. Worth just saying, you know, as Vironex, as Gwyn, we see this as absolutely critical, and bringing a product like this to an audience like you, you know, we're not going to put it in front of you if we're not confident that the actual material inside the canister does the job that you want it to do. So I wanted to just highlight those standards. So, key product benefits with Vironex. Vironex is all about maximum efficiency for your operators and your spaces. Okay, so unlike conventional contamination methods, Vironex minimises disruption and downtime in busy departments, And the ready-to-use format reduces the lead times for terminal disinfection. So we've had stories of where, you know, you've got an environment you want to turn around, and people are talking hours before they can actually physically get sometimes a team in on the clean. But having something that's always ready to go, so user-friendly, so with so little training really required, no lag time. So the next point to cover off is room evacuation. So we're finding a lot of building designs now becoming a lot more open plan. Yeah, so what that means is that they're harder to close off and to seal off, to use other methods of decontamination where you have to have complete seal off of all apertures, et cetera, for long periods of time. What this product provides is that on-spot, localized solution. Okay? So shortening the exclusion periods, ultimately less downtime, quicker turnaround times. So a system that you can depend on. So at Vironex, we've got this zero ethos, okay? So just to run through, so zero power. So again, this product completely portable, no external power sources, no trailing leads. You haven't got to be finding the nearest socket all the time. It's just there, ready to go. Zero setup. We've talked about the mixing that's required on, maybe required for basic manual methods. Okay, so no setup, always ready to roll. Zero waste. We've got the refillable canister. The gun and hose will transfer from canister to canister for many, many, many refills. Zero maintenance. The gun is very robust and very simple to use with just the single adjustment wheel, which needs completely unscrewing. Zero emissions in use. So I mentioned the pressurization of the vessel. So what you've got to remember is that in a vessel like this, that is a headspace. Essentially, it's a headspace which is expanding when you pull the trigger to force the liquid through. Therefore, nothing other than the actual solution is getting dispensed into at that moment. Zero to landfill. So again, because of the circular system that we've got. Zero surface corrosion, another really key point, and I'll touch on that perhaps again when I talk about the ambulance work that we were doing, but what they find with their electronics equipment in quite complex vehicles like that is that many cleaning agents and even wipes, when you squash them into a corner, they'll release obviously the cleaning agent, the lubricant that's in there, and that can run down in, cause issues with the electronics. So we've tested this mist spray on a whole variety of equipment, be it LCD screens, sockets, switches, with no detrimental effects over the course of the testing that we've been carrying out. Zero wipe, obviously that applies to when you're using it in a spray and leave application. If it's I was going to say a deeper clean, it's not a deeper clean necessary. If it's one that requires the physical method along with it, then that's what it requires. Zero surface decoloration. So this is something that was fed back to us. Some of the chlorine-based materials, they really, really do attack. You see these faded sort of vinyls and fabrics and whatnot. So they're very, very, very aggressive. So with this product, you haven't got that issue. And then zero room evacuation. This comes back to my point about being more open plan, some environments being very hard to seal off, to use other methods. So we've got more of an on-spot, localized solution here. So perhaps I'll just, I've kind of covered off a little bit about what we've been doing in North Wales already. So what the Welsh Ambulance Trust, some of you may well be aware that there was I think they call it an accelerator scheme it was run through the guys down at Porton Down, Salisbury, DASA is it? Where they were looking for new methods for rapid ambulance turnaround, which was introduced during obviously the height of COVID. We were heavily involved in that project, and the product remains in use in parts of South Wales, although unfortunately the final tender did go to another party. We were a close second, okay, but I thought, look, I'm still going to share it because it was an excellent program. It allowed us to develop the product a lot. They still deploy it in certain areas because of its benefits, in certain areas where they couldn't use the other product. that was selected. But what the product showed was a lot of those points that I've just been through in that zero list, especially around compatibility with the various different materials. You think about the back of an ambulance, you've got metal, you've got plastic, you've got rubber, you've got vinyl, you've got just a plethora of different materials. So actually was quite demanding, but performed very, very well under those circumstances. And as I say, we are working with some further trusts who, from the reports that were generated, were keen to actually explore it further. So that's an ongoing project, but we learnt a lot from the Welsh Ambulance Service work that was going on there. As I mentioned, up in North Wales, they're the guys that have really helped us to understand where the key areas of use are for this product. And that's been invaluable. So we're very, very grateful for that, for their help. Andy Bullock and Julie Sharma and Paul Clark and the team up there have been absolutely fantastic. And where we are currently with them it is sitting in IPC they're going through the motions with it up there at the moment. I think they've had a few challenges with staffing, etc., and numbers in that team, but we're working closely with them with great feedback.